Hello, I'm Jim Tomlinson from All American Water, located in Wise County, Texas. And this morning what I'd like to do is a well house orientation. And today we're going to talk about the galvanized tank and just some things that's located inside your well house or just part of the components to your well. If you look down here, you'll see the well head. Now typically on top of the well head on this galvanized T is a pressure relief valve. This one's missing one, but it's located another place on the system, so that way if you've got any blockages between the wellhead and the pressure tank, the pressure relief valve will pop off and it won't allow your pump to pump against the dead head, and it will help save your pump. Now on the bottom of this galvanized T, going down to the well, is your drop pipe, and on the end of the drop pipe is your well pump. This right here is your casing that your pipe hangs inside of and your pump sits inside of. Out of your casing is your wire that goes to your pump. Now on this side of the wire, it comes up to a control box. Most control boxes are Franklin Electric, and the way you can tell what size control box you have, which will also indicate what size pump you have, is by looking at this little white line there, and this says HP 1/2. Well, that indicates that this is a 1/2 horsepower control box, and the pump is a 1/2 horsepower pump. And in this case, which means a 1/2 horse pump, you usually don't put it deeper than about 80 to 100 feet. So this is going to be a shallow well. Now, over here is what we call a galvanized tank. This tank works a little different than the bladder tank. When the pump kicks on, what it will do is it'll shoot a 20-foot column of air into this tank. That air is compressed, and that's what pressurizes your water going out. Now sometimes these tanks, you can tell if they're healthy or not is by, you can take your hand and you run it down and you can feel a temperature difference. In the summer, this is going to be warm and this is going to be cold. In the winter, this is going to be cold and this is going to be warm. So this tank, you can feel the difference right here, and you can see this is where the water level is, so this is a healthy tank. Now some other components to this system are your pressure gauge. Now this tells you what your pressure is on your tank, and typically these run between 30 and 50 pounds. At the 30 pound, when it hits down to 30 pounds, the pump will kick on. When it hits 50, it will shut off. Typically that's how these tanks are operated. Now this device right here that your pressure gauge is attached to is called an air volume control valve. If there gets too much air inside this tank, air will spew out of this little hole right here, and then as the water climbs, it will compress the air, and that's what will pressurize your house. This keeps the tank from being what we called airlocked. Now if you look down a little further, you're going to see the pressure switch. Now inside the pressure switch are some contacts, and when the pressure gauge hits 30 pounds, the contacts close. It sends electricity to your control box, and then from your control box to your pump, and it turns your pump on. This is also what will shut off when you hit 50 pounds if you have a 30-50 pressure switch. On this one right here, you can see where it says on at 30 and off at 50. So this particular pressure switch is a 30-50 pressure switch. Oftentimes on these little black pressure switches like this, you can't see it from here. This is a fern gas, but on the back side is a little lever that you lift up and it disconnects the contacts, and the pump won't come on. It's just the lazy man's way of not having to go to the breaker. Also, now this particular item is set up a little different. This is what we call your little nipple, and it's attached to a check valve. Now you can look at this check valve. This is a PVC check valve. They're fairly inexpensive compared to the brass check valves, but what this does is it prevents water from coming back through the tank. It stops it right here, so that way air can be drawn back down into your well, so when the pump kicks on, it'll shoot that 20-foot column of air back into your tank, which is compressed, and then it's what pressurizes your system. Now if this check valve goes bad, what will happen is no air will get inside your tank, and you'll end up having a waterlogged tank. That's when this whole tank ends up filling with water. There's no air in it, and if you happen to be running water outside while you're in your well house, you're going to hear click, 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 your pressure gauge will drop from 50 to 30 in an instant and go from 30 to 50 in an instant. And that short cycling effect will burn up your pump and shorten its life. So if you're outside and you're hearing the click, 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 you want to check it and see, there's no temperature difference, then it's time to call your water well service guys, or you can call us at All American Water, and our number is 940-389-6850, and we'll come replace your check valve and get your system working again. Now the other side of that, we talked a little bit earlier about an airlock tank. If you hear the same thing, click, 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 your pump's coming on and it's going off, or you're getting air in your lines in the house, that means your air volume control valve is not working like it's supposed to. It'll shorten the life expectancy of your pump. It'll create havoc with your some of your appliances in your house, and then you can come outside and you can shake your tank and it'll be really light. Then you'll know it's airlocked. Once again, you can call us at All American Water, or you can call your own water well service company. It's okay with us. Now, when your tank is airlocked and you shake it, you want to be careful that you don't break your pipes, because then you're going to have a whole other problem on your hands. This here is an 82-gallon bladder tank, or galvanized tank, and it's going to be pretty heavy. So for you to be able to shake it, you'll be surprised that, wow, this thing is definitely empty. Now the difference between this and the bladder tank the bladder tank has a bladder in it where the water goes in and then it's compressed from the air that's locked up on the top, but it goes inside of a bladder or a balloon. The upside to a galvanized system is that the water is mixed with air when it comes into the tank, and if there's any odor in there, it helps oxidize it and gets rid of the odor before it comes into your house. The downside to this is you don't have the drawdown effect that you have on a bladder tank. Take, for instance, a 33-gallon bladder tank will allow you to use 9 gallons of water before your pump kicks on. That's just a 33-gallon bladder tank. This is an 82-gallon galvanized tank, and you get about the same drawdown effect for all the water that's in there. One of the other downsides to this tank is it's a little higher maintenance. Air volume control valves go bad, or the check valves go bad, or the snifter valve, which is out at the wellhead, goes bad, and then you run into other problems. With the bladder tank, there aren't so many maintenance issues. But nonetheless, they both work very well. Galvanized tanks are very popular. If you've got one, there's no need to switch, but you've probably experienced some problems with it here and there, and that's okay. You don't have a bad system. These were probably invented first, and so therefore they're the most popular. Well, I thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please call us at 940-389-6850. We'll be happy to talk to you over the phone, or if you need a service call, call us and we'll come out and take care of your water well needs. Thank you and have a great day.